Buying a new construction home can be a little bit confusing. There really is no one type of home that is a new construction home. Believe it or not, there are actually 4 different types of new construction homes, and all of them are slightly different as to what you get, how you get it, and how much it costs. So if you're thinking about buying a new construction home, stick around and I'll explain how each one is different and the pros and cons of each type. Hi there, I'm Stephanie Frost, a real estate agent in Ocala, Florida, and I'm here every week to talk about all things real estate in the Ocala and Marion County area. So, with the current shortage of housing inventory, a whole lot of people are considering buying a new construction home right now. But I've noticed that a lot of them are a little bit confused as to the different types of new construction that are available. So what are the different kinds of new construction? Well, you can kind of break it down into 4 basic types. First, and generally the most affordable, is what's commonly called a production home. And that's when a large institutional builder or a group of builders like Holiday Homes, Lennar, or Adams Homes will buy a large tract of land and then basically they build a new subdivision. Or sometimes they'll just keep building in an existing one that still has individual lots available for sale to outside builders. Now most of these homes are going to look pretty similar, and the builder or builders will only offer a limited number of floor plans and finishes. If you get to choose any options at all, it's usually, do you want the gray package or the beige package? You might possibly have a couple of options as to countertops or cabinet colors, but that's about it. There are no other options or changes offered or allowed, which is also the reason that this is usually the most affordable option. Because the builder offers such a limited number of styles and finishes, they can buy their materials in bulk, and they pretty much know exactly what everything's going to cost ahead of time. As the buyer, you get to reap the rewards of that bulk buying by paying a lower price for your new home. It's kind of like buying groceries at Costco. Not a lot of options, but you sure save some money by shopping there. The trade-off is that you'll have a limited number of finishes to choose from and little to no customization as to the home's floor plan or layout. Now, if you're looking for something a little more personal, then you might consider a semi-custom home. A semi-custom home is similar to a production home in that they're usually offered in a subdivision setting, although some builders will build on a lot that you already own. But in the case of a semi-custom, you're going to have a lot more choices as to floor plan, design, and finishes. Usually, each floor plan is going to come with a couple of choices as to outside elevation, which is the way a home looks outside, and usually a few choices as to room configuration too. For instance, one outside elevation might have dormers on the roof, while another one doesn't. Or one design may have a covered front porch with a sitting area. Inside, you might be able to swap out that 3rd bedroom for an optional den, that kind of thing. Another benefit to a semi-custom build is that you generally have a lot more options as to interior finishes. The home will come with basic standard finishes, but you usually have a lot of upgrade options. Cabinets, flooring, wall tile, countertops, fixtures, lighting. Nearly everything's going to have optional upgrades. You have to pay up for them, but if you want them, they are available. Of course, having these options also means paying more for your home. The builder can't know in advance what finishes each customer is going to be buying, so they can't stock up ahead of time. So they lose the discount they would have gotten by buying large quantities of each item, which translates into a higher cost for you as the eventual home buyer. Now, with either a production home or a semi-custom home, you'll usually be able to pick out the lot that you'd like to build on anyway. But like everything else in life worth having, it comes at a price. First of all, know that the price of the lot generally gets added to the advertised price of the home. So when you see that home advertised at from $999,000, usually that number is the base price of the home itself. Then you add the lot price to that. And if a lot's considered more desirable, it'll cost you more. For instance, a pie-shaped lot with a smaller backyard will probably cost you less than, say, a waterfront lot or a corner lot. A lot on a cul-de-sac with less traffic is probably going to cost more than one on a main street in the subdivision. Now, one potential drawback to a production home is that you may have to deal with some construction going on around you. A lot of times a builder will open up one area of a subdivision at a time and build everything out in that area until it's completely built out. So you might have to live with construction noise for a while as they finish building the homes around you. And sometimes production homes will be in a brand new development. This is the case for a whole lot of our construction in Ocala right now. With the huge demand for housing locally, new home communities are popping up like mushrooms after a rainstorm. So even though the amenities might be planned for the community you're buying in, they may not be available right away when you move in. And if you're in a time crunch and can't wait for a new home to be built, and you don't mind not having any home customization at all, you might, emphasis on might, be able to find what we call a spec home for sale. A spec home is when a builder owns or buys a single lot or even a group of lots and then builds on them without having a buyer ready to purchase ahead of time. That's where the term spec comes from. The builder is speculating that he can find a buyer for the house when it's finished. In this market, I'm pretty sure that spec isn't even really the right term anymore, because there absolutely will be a buyer ready to buy that home when it's done. In fact, there'll probably be buyers fighting to buy that home when it's done. But anyway, once the home's finished or close to being finished, the builder will release them to the general public to purchase. And this is something that we used to see all the time in previous markets. If I had a buyer looking for a brand new move-in ready home a couple of years ago, I could usually round up a dozen or more pretty easy. But that's not the case right now. Right now, finding a new move-in ready home is like finding a needle in a haystack. There might be only one or two available at any given week, and those are snapped up in a heartbeat. So if that's the route that you want to go, be prepared for some stiff competition and know that you're not going to be able to think about it for long. When a home comes up that you like, be ready to jump on it. So have your financing in place ahead of time, because there won't be time for it when the home hits the market. Trust me. Now, the benefit to buying a spec home is that everything's still new, never been lived in, but you don't have to wait months for it to be finished. You know ahead of time exactly what you're getting and what it looks like inside and out. The downside is that you don't get to pick any of the colors or finishes, so what you see is what you get. Now, the last and most expensive option is a fully custom home. And a custom home is exactly what it sounds like. It is totally customized to your individual needs and tastes. You buy your own lot, you choose your own builder, and then you either use a floor plan that they already have and make whatever changes you need, or you work with your builder and an architect to design a completely new floor plan and exterior elevation. You'll get to pick exactly what you want as far as size, style, room layout, finishes, the works. Sky's the limit with a custom home. You can have whatever you want, as long as you can afford it, that is. And a custom home will also take the longest time to build, because you have to factor in the time for the actual home design and planning too. Now, unless you're buying a spec home that's already finished, you're going to have some patience when it comes to building your new construction home. Building any new home takes time, even in a normal market. But right now, with labor shortages, material shortages, and shipping delays, things are backed up in a really big way. With most builders, you can figure on your new home taking at least 8 months and sometimes up to a year or more to be finished. And no matter what the completion date is on your home purchase contract, there are no hard and fast rules about when the home will actually be finished and ready for occupancy. Right now, builders are telling me that things are starting to get a little better. But again, with all the shortages in labor and materials, construction delays are more the norm than the exception right now. So make sure you have an emergency plan in place for somewhere to stay if your new home isn't ready on time. So hopefully now you have a better understanding about the different types of new construction homes that there are to choose from and which one's the right fit for you. Or maybe you've decided that new construction isn't quite what you had in mind after all. Regardless, before you watch that next video, take a second to like and subscribe, because I do this every week, and honestly, it's just nice to know that there's somebody out there watching it. And if there's something that you'd like to know more about or that you'd like me to cover in another video, just drop it in the comments below. And until next week, take care, and I'll see you soon.